folks, and welcome back to another episode of Pinal Prep Spotlight, brought to you by Jones Ford Buick GMC, your hometown dealer for more than 50 years. This is officially our first episode of the spring season, my favorite season because it is softball season, but we are not talking about softball today, unfortunately. However, we are talking about baseball, and we're going to give you guys our top 3 predictions for our some of our top teams here in Pinal County. David, kick things off for us. Who do you have on your list?
Yeah, well, it's your favorite time of the year, and it's my favorite time of the year because we got baseball going on. And right now, we got some teams that are were in the middle of the pack last year that are looking to take those steps forward this year. And my 3 picks kind of reflect that. You know, I'm starting out with the hometown team of Casa Grande Union. This team was kind of put together pretty well last year. They had some success, but it really just depends on can they find those guys that are going to cement themselves in this roster and then kind of, can continue to leap forward as well. So I think some big guys that we're going to have to look out for is Carmichael as well. Carmichael was really good both on the offensive side, and he's a good pitcher as well, so we just kind of have to look out for him as well. But, this team is just looking for those pieces, and can they find it as well? And just find this team, find the ability to kind of, make themselves a contender in this division and kind of excel in more ways than one. So I really like this Casa Grande Union team. And then on the other side, I got Vista Grande as well. Vista Grande has had a really good season last year. It was kind of a battle between them and Post and Butte on who was going to be the top team in 4A. And, Post and Butte may have edged them out this year, but I think this year we could see a lot from Vista Grande. I think they can kind of cement themselves as the team that we're going to look out for. A guy that I really am a fan of is Sebastian Urogo. He was a sophomore last year, batted .446 at the plate, and he's been really solid for them in his sophomore years. And he's only going to get better now. Going into his junior year and then the senior year later, he's got time to develop, and this is going to be the time of year that he is definitely going to develop into something strong, so he's going to be a huge piece for them going forward. And then a little bit more of a sleeper pick, I want to say, is Santan Foothills. Santan Foothills has kind of had a resurgence with some of its team sports this year. The football team made the playoffs. The soccer team performed really well. The basketball team just missed out on the playoffs this year, but they were still really solid as well. We were looking at them early season as this could be a playoff team. And I think the baseball team is trying to reflect that as well. And this team has been there before. They've had success in the past. Last year they made a play-in, just weren't able to get it done. But this team is definitely solid, and they have really solid leadership on this team. Guys like Bo Kotherman, who was a great football player for them in the football season, taking his talents to the baseball team. He's going to do really well for them as well. And then they got Dimitri Finch and then Roy Kimball Martin. Those are 2 guys that are going to kind of fulfill that 3-headed monster, that 3-headed leading team that they're going to have. And those 3 guys are going to be huge for them going forward. And it really just depends on can they find the right pieces and kind of get a little bit lucky and get into that playoff spot, because they have the talent, and it just depends on if they're able to succeed on that talent. So 3 teams that are looking forward this year, and I think we're going to have a good season of baseball. It just depends on who kind of cements themselves as the top leader.
All right, so my 3 are very similar to David's, except for one team. My top team overall is Vista Grande. I think this is their year to just finally put everything together. They have the pitching staff. David mentioned Sebastian Hidrogo, but they also have returners, senior Trent Chavez, and then 2 other Aidens. A lot of Aidens on this team. We have Aiden Montiel and Aiden Valencia, a freshman and a sophomore. And now, so far, it's very early on in the season. We've only had a couple preseason tournament games going on. Weather has been a factor, so we haven't really got an actual full look at just how capable some of our teams are. But looking at Vista Grande, a couple weeks ago they had that Pinon and Hoffman tournament, and Vista Grande looked really solid. Like I mentioned, their pitching staff, but also offensively in the batter's box. Braxton Stewart and Jaden Fanholes are doing a really solid job for them. Stewart is batting .583. He already has 7 hits, 4 RBIs. My big question here is, can these Spartans get everything figured out on the infield? The infield so far has kind of been a bit shaky for them. They are without a longtime starter in Emilio Barreras, who graduated. He is now doing an extremely exceptional job at GCU. But still, all these guys coming in and trying to fill in that position just on the field in his leadership role, what he did offensively, he was just like the overall package for Vista Grande. Also, other guys gone are Jason Real and just all these other seniors that helped out on pitching. But I think overall, Vista Grande has the whole package here in Pinal County. David mentioned CG Union. I think this is the year CG Union takes that next step forward. They've been in the 5A play-in tournament the past couple of seasons. They haven't been able to make it past that first game. Thinking this might be the season. They have a very, very difficult region schedule with all these teams like Castile, Mountain Point, a lot of playoff experience among them, but still, I think CG Union can compete against them. Guys like Matt Villa, Rylan Amato, Austin Graffius, really solid arms. However, who else can step up here and help these Cougars out? And then my last pick here is kind of a dark horse. Hard to believe I'm mentioning them as a dark horse, considering they were our number one seed in the 4A conference last year, but it's Poston Butte. Poston Butte lost a lot of talent. Their whole pitching staff is essentially new, but hey, they're still kind of effective here. I say kind of because they don't have a lot of arms. As of right now, it's basically two guys in Delton Van Gordon and Connor Lopez. We've spoken about Connor Lopez pretty much all year, football, baseball. Now he's doing basketball. He's equally as effective. So far, Lopez, 7.2 innings pitched, a 1.83 ERA, just 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 10 Ks. And then we got to talk about this other guy in Van Gordon. Just a junior, his first year playing varsity, 10 innings pitched already, a 0 ERA, 24 strikeouts, and just 2 walks. That's it. He hasn't given up any runs, just 4 hits. And my question here is, like I said, who else can step up? Because, I mean, you need more arms than just these 2 guys. Head coach Chris Holcomb is kind of betting on 2 guys being available later on in the season. There's transfers, but up until then, Poston Butte has to find a way to win these games because these games are equally as crucial as the region games. So we will have to wait and see just how this season turns out. David, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Poston Butte because the main reason why I didn't put them in my top 3 was because of all the talent that they lost this year. There was a lot of guys that they really relied on and really kind of put themselves in positions to make Poston Butte successful. So it really just depends on who the next guys that are going to step up. And like you said, they're looking for those 2 transfers to move on. But also, look out for CeeLo. He's a really awesome guy, and he's just a talented athlete. He's a 3-sport athlete, so he could definitely prove to kind of take that leadership role for this team, but we'll just have to wait and see. So I like the Broncos this year. It just depends on if those guys can step up. So we still got some good baseball team. We got a lot of talent here in Pinal County. We're looking forward to how this season unfolds.
All right, and that does it for this episode. Be sure to tune into Pinal Central, as always, for all of our local sports coverage, and tune in next week for our top softball picks.